Okay, so here we have a different episode of Gone Flying, but not really, because in lockdown, myself, NJ, and a few friends, to keep us sane, flew together pretty much every night, I think it was, NJ, in Digital Combat Simulator, which is not what you might think, because despite the name, it's a very good aviation tool. We are in VR here, so we've got fancy VR headsets. NJ's over there
Hello.
in his BAE Hawk in the Red Arrow scheme. We've got two more Hawks behind us, and we're just going to have a little bit of formation flying. You might know NJ Tech, of course, from his channel. Doing tutorials and drones and things like that. And a lot of the things that I've learnt doing formation in the RC world has come from DCS. So let's get this guy started. We have got two battery switches down here that need to come forward. That's there, and then this is the generator that's got to go in the middle position like that. And then we have got the engine starter, which goes in the middle position. And then at this point, we have to press the gas turbine starter, or GTS. And we should hear a noise coming from that. So DCS, we start the aircraft up as you would in real life. This is a free mod if you don't want to get into this sort of thing. We are looking on this panel at the front here for GTS ready. Just going to shut my canopy. And at the same time we should have some Hawks back there, and they'll be taken off, and hopefully we're gonna do some formation with them. You started up okay, NJ?
Yep, all good. Ready to roll here, I think.
GTS, and then we give a flick of the starter until it says ready. It says ready, and then this is the throttle detent. It's going to take it out of idle. We can turn on these displays here. Can have an HSI on there and an ADI on there. Also turn up and switch on the hood. And also we want some lights going. So that's all of these here. Formation lights on. Ready to roll, NJ.
Awesome. Just realised you've got your landing light on, which is probably a good idea as it's a little bit low light.
Yeah, landing light, taxi light. We've got a red taking off behind us. Shall we wait for those guys to go and sort of try and do...
Shall I roll just in front of you, and then we can wait until those guys are up and away, which shouldn't take too long, and then we'll see if we can go hunt them down.
That's usually how it works. So this is actually the Goshawk, I should mention, which is an updated version of the Hawk that the Red Arrows use, which is why NJ's got a hook on the back of his. And much beefed up front wheel as well, I believe. Now, NJ has taught me a lot about formation. He's very interested in it himself. He's gone to half flaps there. My half flaps is there.
Probably don't need it on a runway this length, but why not?
Well, on the RC Hawk that I've been flying, it really does need the half flaps to take off. It's amazing how quick it takes off on half flaps, actually. There goes...
I'll tell you a couple of little interesting things on the HUD as well there. That box number on the top left is your airspeed, which is set at 50 because right now, until we hit that speed, there's no because they're static pressure pitot tubes. There's no air pressure, so they won't actually read anything until we hit around 50 or just over in terms of knots. And then the other boxed figure on the right is our barometric altitude, so apparently we're 1,840 feet above sea level, and then just above that the twitching 0 number is our radar altimeter, which we have on one of these, which will bounce the radar off the ground and give us our actual height above the ground using that instead. So both really useful.
See, I knew, NJ, that I could count on you for all of this information.
For the geeky AV stuff.
Yeah, because me, you see, I just fly the plane thing. Okay, my trims are all over the place, so I'm just going to reset those to try and get a dignified takeoff. And you have rolled further up there. I should say that my friend Phil in Gone Flying is not in this episode, but NJ, a worthy adversary and full of knowledge and surprises.
Surely we can bully Phil after this video into coming into DCS.
You see, you call it bullying in the in our Discord. It's known as a jonesing because we all have this setup. We can probably talk about that a bit later about the setup, because I think a lot of people worry about barrier to entry with VR, but actually you don't have to have too much of an impressive setup to get going, right?
Oh, it's incredible now that the sheer cost of doing anything in VR when it all started out was just thousands, long before you then look at the PC you'd need to drive it. It's just so affordable now, fairly sort of middle of the road PC setup, and an Oculus Quest, which is, I reckon, probably the best, most affordable VR headset if you're okay with the Facebook thing. It's a great piece of hardware, and well, that's what I'm running. I think it's works fantastically. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, shall we go for a takeoff, shall we?
Yeah, I think we should. So I've got the brakes held down. We'll go to 100% thrust. I'll call off the brakes, and then I'll call when to pitch the nose up, and I'll call gear and flaps as well.
Excellent.
All right, so full power against the brakes. And off the brakes. So nose off the ground, just hold it, and we're up. So gear and flaps, and then I'm rolling back slightly to about 80%.
Yep, that's working nice.
Gonna trim up a little bit so that I can bring the stick back to center. And we've got that guy way up ahead already in his circuit.
Who is that guy?
That is just some little AI fly in a circle bot that I made, which is going to be just great for us.
NJ set this mission up and it is just super, because it allows me, at least, and everyone to practice formation in the way that you're meant to, really.
So how's that for speed? You alright keeping up?
Yeah, speed is perfect. I was
so
in
you can see him going overhead now, by the way. So we've still got to climb altitude, so we'll let him do his thing while we get up to where he is.
Yeah, sounds good. So we should explain, right? Or maybe you can explain. The aircraft above is in a turning circle.
Yeah, it's in a pretty wide turning circle, which means it's not being too aggressive of a bank. It will be a little bit easier for us to form up on. But yeah, this is probably a good time. Well, you can take over here, Andy, to explain what we need to do to rejoin any aircraft. I'm just going to start rolling over to the right here, and we'll try and S behind him.
So something that is specific to jets, but not just this, because it's helped me in the RC world, is that jets they don't have much resolution when it comes to their throttle. In other words, if you throttle up and give it quite a bit of throttle, it can take maybe 10 seconds for that throttle to get up high, but then when it is up high, you've got more resolution. So the tendency is with jets, and I've used this in the RC world as well, is to be at a higher throttle and then put the aircraft into a turn that's in the lead, and in that way you can cut into them if you are on the inside of them, even if you're at the same throttle or similar throttle level. And that's what we're trying to do now.
Yeah, so the lead guy generally in formation is usually set to a set amount of power, and then everyone obviously leaving room at the top for people to be able to catch up, but you don't necessarily have enough power if you're far away, even if you're at max throttle, say you're at 100% and the lead is at 80, to actually catch them. So what they do is something called a rejoin, which usually involves a circle, sometimes tighter than this, just to speed things up. But what we're doing is we're flying on the inside of that circle, so we're flying a smaller radius than the lead pilot, and that allows us to catch up with him quite quickly, and then we can exploit either side of that circle that he's doing. So flying a smaller radius will catch him quickly with less power or the same power, and if we want to slow down more aggressively than we could just by backing off the throttle, we can fly to the outside of his circle, therefore flying a larger radius. The dude on the outside is going to be running a longer race than the dude on the inside.
Absolutely. And that has been monumental in me learning formation in the RC world, because it sort of amplified, as well. So yeah, if you've got two planes that are identical and you want to match throttle,
you're normally joining down the length of the wing. So there's if you imagine a line extending all the way out from the inside wing of the lead aircraft, you're kind of rejoining along that. So I've rejoined a little bit behind him, which isn't really best practice, but look, it's worked, it's got us here.
yeah.
And now I'm just going to use a bit more throttle to get on the right side of him.
Yeah, if you are piling in really fast to try and match their speed, of course as well, we'd have more communication than we do have with this lead pilot, but we also have boards, or aka speed brakes, which we can flick in slowly. You don't really want to be using it once you're in formation with that plane, but it's handy, if you've slightly got the speed wrong. So that's something that I'm doing. I've gone on his left wing. I favour the left, and NJ.
Which works for me because I favour the right. So I think that's you. I think that's you in the 2 slot, me in the 3. I think is the actual numbers of where we are. But yeah, I've just realised I'm a little bit out of practice here, but
don't worry
we're not doing too bad. This isn't too much about a shambles. And this is really kind of Blue Angels American style formation, being this close. I don't think you'd see the actual red arrows forming up with this much distance or lack of it.
Yeah, the red arrows, I
aircraft.
think they have more space between them. They say 6 foot, but nah, it's not 6 foot. Whereas the Blue Angels, it's about 18 inches. It's quite...
It's terrifying.
Terrifying. And they're doing rolls and things. This is basic formation here, and they're doing rolls and crazy things. And we're just in a turn. But the interesting thing about formation, and you may have seen this on the previous episodes of Gone Flying, is that once you are in formation, that plane then is doing such slow turns and maneuvers, and when he announces that, you actually don't feel like you're turning. So at this point now, I am purely using the reference of the number 1 plane to fly with, and I have no idea where I am in relation to the ground. That's why the person in lead is so important, right? Because
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah, the lead is the person who's constantly talking, constantly telling everyone what he's going to do. If he's going to turn left, there's he'll be describing every aspect of that, and it's quite a funny language to listen to if you haven't heard a lead pilot talk. And everything from the, like we said, the angels to the red arrows have their own particular language for doing that. But yeah, it's crucial. They're constantly telling the pilots what to expect when they're this close. You can't have number one surprising the rest of the group, because that will lead to a lot of fire probably.
another thing that I haven't mentioned is the fact that we are flying underneath the aircraft for the most part, and this is because we don't want to get in the wake of the engine behind. Something that some people said, why aren't you flying line of stern behind each other? It's like, well, the plane would actually flip upside down if we were to do that, you know. So it's another important thing. And also, flying underneath the aircraft means that you can actually sort of look like you're overlapping, when in reality you actually aren't overlapping. We are, but it makes it look like it's a closer formation from the ground.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff, all the different formation patterns you can do. And one of the virtual teams that do these virtual displays, the guys called the Vultures, who are absolutely awesome at this, all real world pilots as well. They even, last time I got a chance to hang out with them, they were doing formations where they were adjusting the number 4 position, where it looked like an odd position of 4 aircraft formation actually up in the sky, but it adjusted to make it look more geometrically perfect from the ground perspective.
Yes.
Which was, I thought that's really going the extra mile, where you're adjusting things to make it look even more perfect from the ground.
Now, because this is a free mod, we're not sure if this is going to work, but they actually do have smoke on this aircraft.
Oh yeah.
So shall we do the old saying of 3, 2, 1, and then not yet, because he's got his smoke on already. So do we go 3?
We can try.
3, 2, 1, smoke on. Mine said smoke on, but I don't know if I've got any smoke.
I've just realised that my smoke is actually mapped to my mirrors, so I've turned my mirrors on, but I don't think I've turned my smoke off.
It may not show as any smoke, but...
oh, you're smoking. You are smoking.
I may be smoking here, but yeah, we'll see what comes out on the external views, because it's...
And just in one split second lapse of concentration, I've moved out of my slot. It really is just such high levels of concentration.
It really is, yeah.
Stay in your position. No different to the RC planes.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. But like I say, no end this has helped me with the RC planes. I just wish one day we've got 2 Hawks, and one day we're going to be able to do this. And I think it's possible to get this close. I actually find flying formation with the RC planes easier because of how difficult this is. So some people, I mean, including myself, I used to think, formation, now it's all about pressing a button and autopilot does it all. Absolutely not. You are soaring on the throttle constantly. You are making constant adjustments. It's but at the same time, it's a really fun thing to do, you know.
Oh yeah, it's especially in VR as well. You just get pretty immersed. I think it's probably the word.
So for someone to get into this, what would be like the base machine to get these days? It's not the best time to be buying computer parts, but you've said the Quest 2, absolutely agree on that. Quest 2, DCS is free, what we're in here. This mod is free. You want a decent, you know, HOTAS or joystick, and then your PC. Mine was running was it i7 i7 7700K with a 1080 Ti, you know, which, you know, you can get these days for not a fortune. It is accessible, I think, anyways.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm still running a 1080 Ti. I refuse to budge from it until it just can't do the job anymore. But yeah, this stuff is so well coded now and so efficient that it's pretty incredible that something fairly old like that can drive VR and look this good.
So shall we try and move to a different position? Should we?
Yeah. Should we break away and fly straight? I'm going to put a little bit of power in. If you roll out to the right, you'll see me. I'm breaking away now.
Yeah, I see you.
And it looks like I still don't have any smoke for some reason.
Oh, there he is.
Smoke's on.
For us, it's showing up as smoke anyways.
Mine is now smoking. I don't know if you're seeing it.
I'm seeing it, but I don't
Good.
know if the folks at home are seeing it.
There we go.
Well, that's fine because we look superb anyways.
So this guy, much like the other guy, in a left-hand turn, but he is in a much harder bank and doing slightly higher speed as well. So this is going to require a slightly more aggressive bank angle. But same principles for rejoining. I'm kind of joining along the extended line of his his left wing, and I'm just going to keep flying the inside circle.
Yeah.
And hopefully start to get closer to him. And the idea would be that you would then fly the inside circle of me, and then we all join. And that's how all these aircraft tend to join up in a rejoin circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to do that.
And then normally everyone would announce once they're in the slot, and then if it was a 4-man team, number 4 would say he's in the slot and announce diamond if that's the pattern they're doing, and then the lead could then level out and initiate whatever the next manoeuvre in the air show is.
Yeah. But it's much harder, isn't it, when there is a higher bank angle? It's much harder to keep the formation because you're having to put more control inputs in, because a plane doesn't like to fly on its side that much.
No, yeah, you're definitely going to be pulling a little bit more on the stick. It's interesting what you said earlier about the you kind of zone out from reality and just focus on whatever your lead is doing. Because there was an accident, I can't remember how long ago it was, but it was quite a long time ago, but it was one where the lead pilot got distracted or got his manoeuvre wrong and flew the entire team into the ground at the bottom of a loop.
You gotta have trust in your lead.
Yeah, you're completely reliant on what the lead does.
Actually happened with me and Phil, because I was actually running out of battery, and we had gotten really far away from the field, and I said, I need to land now, Phil, and he turned me around and I was like, oh, I probably might not make that because we were so far away. But that just shows you how much sort of you know, you aren't paying attention to what's going around.
Yeah, this is a pretty aggressive left turn here.
Can you remember what the number is? Was it 60 degrees turn?
Something like that, yeah.
See you in my mirrors. But yeah, maybe put in a bit of up trim. I don't know if that helps.
Well, apparently it's better to always be on back pressure.
Yeah.
And apparently a lot of these pilots will adjust with trim down so that they are on a constant back pressure, so that you're never kind of messing around in the center of the stick.
It's also, as well, I believe, in case for whatever reason there's a problem and they can just nose down straight away, like quickly. That's what I heard.
To get out of it, yeah.
To get out of it, yeah.
Maybe so. As long as the lead doesn't do that, that would be bad for us.
Yes, it would. Interestingly, if the lead doesn't turn up because he's got COVID, no one can fly. But if one of the other ones don't turn up, they sort of just leave a gap for them. So yeah, lead's that important that if he's not there, we can't fly.
I think there was a gap in the when the Red Arrows did their American tour, because one of the pilots had to rush home because he was having a baby.
Yeah.
And that there was just a slot missing that they carried on.
This year there's been a slot missing. Yeah, I think probably just because they couldn't get enough training in or something. But it still looks good.
Yeah, this is definitely more work.
It is.
This one. I'm struggling a bit here, but
yeah, same.
You know, we're still in the same postcode, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, I just can't quite get as stable. But I hear that the more bank angle you can kind of get away with, it's the better for the formation. Especially when you're doing a show or something like that. But I wanted to try some of the other maneuvers we tried last time. I'm not sure we're gonna achieve them on this tighter angle. What do you think? You know?
Yeah, tricky. This is one of the things I love about the formation flying, especially, and I keep harping on about it, but in VR, is your perception of your depth perception's just so good.
Yeah.
That you can make a reasonably good go at it. And again, most of the VR display pilots, like the Vultures and others, I think all of them are actually in VR.
Yeah.
Not to say it can't be done on a flat screen with something like Track IR, but it's not quite the same without the depth perception.
Yeah, it's massively helps.
Yeah, huge advantage.
How are you getting on?
It's definitely harder on the outside. I'm having to use a lot more power than probably you are. I don't know how near the top you are, but I'm almost maxed out.
Yeah, that's the problem. You see, he's on a high throttle, a high bank, and you have to have more throttle than him. And yeah, I have to go slower.
Yeah, I'm more tentative about getting closer to the lead.
I don't blame you.
With this circle than the other one.
Do you want to try on the inside, or is that worse?
We could try. Well, do you want to try another? We could try Echelon.
With this guy?
Yeah. So I'm going to leave the gap. So we all want to be... I think I've got this the right way around. We're all basically on the horizon line.
Is this where I get in the number 4 slot right underneath?
Yeah. So you're kind of in 4, but then on the horizon. So you adjust to put all of us on the same horizon axis, if you like.
And I have to get up to the wing spar.
Yeah, so you need to, I would say your position, so hard when you're tilted like this to see what level is.
It is.
But yeah, I just need to get a bit closer to you now.
This is the one I find the easiest because you are matching the speed of the first one. I always find flying directly behind easier than from the side, because at least you haven't got to mess around with the speed and soar at the throttle that much. How are you getting on?
I think I'm up more or less there. You have definitely had more practice than me in this slot. You're smashing it there.
I've had more practice in DCS and in RC.
Yeah, I think you have. Okay, I think we're good now. Quick, take a screenshot.
Just as you say that, I mess it up. I go too far forward.
It's so easy to end up in a
Oscillation.
as well.
We
Yeah.
said the word oscillation at the same time.
This isn't looking horrific.
Oh, I'm laughing. Oh no, you can't
We
even
can work backwards from that. We'll be all
you
right.
can't even laugh. NJ's got it harder than me also because the lead is an AI. So he is dead smooth and I am me with my shaky hands. So, and he's trying to get underneath me. So, apologies, NJ.
Yeah, it's such a different thing when you're doing the lead position.
You're
concentrating on a whole different bunch of things.
well, do you know what? This has done wonders for my neck doing this. At first, I had weeks where I couldn't use my neck, and now, yeah, it's easy to tense up when you're doing this with everything, your controls and everything, but you kind of have to because there's such slight movements. It's hard not to tense up. What about you? You're pretty good at being relaxed,
yeah,
aren't you?
I'm all right. I'm not too bad.
Yeah. See.
I've not pulled anything yet.
No. That's about the distance the red arrows fly from. Ah, that's a nice shot. It's funny because, you know, we've got 3 planes here, but I have very rarely seen your plane the entire time. That's just how it is.
Yeah, all you're looking at is that lead. And it's the other thing that's probably relevant to the RC stuff as it is to this is in your whichever slot you want to fly in is picking reference points. So
Yeah.
for me, it's like the wingtip and the rear pilot, the
Yeah.
instructor seat.
Oh, you pick,
Those 2 points, lining those 2 things up.
you do the rear pilot, do you? Interesting.
I do, yeah, for this aircraft anyway. It's different for different aircraft.
Feels
And
like
you can use the leading, the angle of the leading edge of
Yeah.
the wing is a really good indicator as well. So when it looks straight to you, you're kind of in the perfect slot. And if it slopes backwards, you've gone too far forward. If it slopes forward, you've gone too far backwards. So
Yeah.
that geometry is useful as well.
So you're talking like, yeah, that line there, but oh, it's so hard to keep it there.
Well, interestingly, some of the formation aircraft that are purpose-built for formation have a lot of these visual markers painted in specific ways to make them easier for the slot flying positions.
Yes. Yes, the vultures have that, don't they? Have little arrows
Yeah.
to say. There's even a little like bit of text, isn't there? If you can see this on the wing, you are in a slot, in a position. That's quite funny.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think even the pitot tubes on the L39s that the vultures fly have stripes on them that you line up with the pilot's head and the wing tanks.
This is where you win, NJ. You win on this one. I mean, you win in most cases, but
well, no, this is my preferred side as well. If it was going the other way, I think it'd be rubbish.
what I might do is cut all this audio because I bet no one will know and it'll all just look great.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
Right. Right, I reckon we should probably brake. I'm going to brake now, I think.
I've run out of fuel, I think.
It sounded like someone was throttling back, and I've just looked at my fuel level and thought we need to land.
Where's the runway?
Behind us.
I'm a dead...
This could be made. This can be made, but you're going to have to be pretty sharpish.
I'm a dead stick. Yeah, this is a dead stick for me.
It does have a rat on the Hawk, so you should have hydraulic. Little fan pops out the top to keep your hydraulics going. But well, I think I'm okay. Have I got my gear out? Nope.
Your smoke's on, so
come on.
You know when I said is 39% fuel enough?
Right, I've emergency extended the landing gear. Might just get away with this.
I can put the landing gear down, but I don't think I'm going to get away with it. Better if there wasn't smoke all over the... Flare, 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 flare.
Well, for a dead stick, I'm alive.
Was yours dead stick too?
Yeah.
How did you manually put the gear down? Because
There's a yellow lever next to the yellow jettison button. You need to flick that, and that's an emergency gear drop.
yeah, I failed to do that, but I've stopped nicely. I've stopped nice and safely. Might need some maintenance. Landing gear emergency release.
Oh, they're coming out.
Oh,
Hey.
oh.
Sort of.
It's, yeah, I think it was,
Yeah. I think you broke the laws of physics there, I'm afraid.
I think I need to get out of here.
Oh, there is an emergency flaps.
Yeah.
It's right next to it.
I'm safe. I'm safe.
Some of it.
Ah.
Oh, I see. I see an ejected Red Arrows pilot.
Well, you know what, NJ? It's not unusual that Gone Flying ends up with a crash at the end. So
A little bit of smoke. A little bit of
yeah, it's rare that they jump off the ground like this, but you know, we're safe. We got to use the ejection system. So
This is true.
that was cool, man.